Lunchtime Live, where we eat lunch and chit chat about some pews here on the table. And you can time theft for your boss while hanging out with me here on the Muzzlebroke channel. Lots of fun, lots of guns, lots of good times. There are no firearm sales on the channel for the YouTube AI moderator. But I hope everyone is having a super duper fantastic Wednesday here, halfway through the week. So sit back, relax, and watch me chit chat about a couple of pretty cool firearms that I have in the collection. We have the three guns that we're kind of going to talk a little bit about today. We kind of have my old school AR build that I've kind of modeled a little bit off the M4 with a couple of spin-offs that I really enjoy that we'll chat about. But this one definitely kind of has that old school vibey AR look that we kind of, I would say, all know and love, but I'm not really quite too sure about that. I feel like nowadays everyone kind of has their super high-speed tactical ARs. Pickles, what's up, man? Yeah, it's just me and you, per our usual arrangement, Pickles. But I know everyone kind of usually has their super high-speed, super cool looking ARs, and I don't think that this is not super high speed. I definitely think this is super cool. So it's kind of my retro AR build that I really enjoy when I have it out at the range. You can definitely kind of tell this is a AK guy's AR because it's not really pimped out with all the bells and whistles. Now I do have a couple of purpose-driven AR builds that I definitely have had on the channel previously that are a little bit more high-speed tactical vibes, but this one definitely kind of scratches that Black Ops M4 look itch that we all should appreciate. Rocking the quad rail up front. We definitely have that A2 front sight post that's super hella vibey. Rocking the vertical grip on this also. And I actually just kind of threw on this hand stop, I think yesterday or the other day, just because I had it laying around and I kind of thought, why not? I actually do really like the muzzle device that I'm rocking on this guy too. It's the Griffin Armament War Comp, I think it's called, Warhammer Comp or something. And it definitely does mitigate recoil, although it, of course, does produce a little bit of a flashbang at the end of the gun, which, depending on what you're using the weapon for, can be practical or not practical. Rocking the good old-fashioned carry handle on this guy as well, which can also definitely be a good time. The carry handle iron sights, I really don't have too much beef with. They're very functional and they're very robust. In a sense that dropping the weapon or something along those lines is really not going to screw up either the front or rear iron sight. Kind of sounds stupid, but I'm a fan of metal iron sights. A lot of the iron sights that people will run are kind of like plastic. And not that those are bad, but for me, I need an iron sight to be robust to the point where I throw the gun, drop the gun, something along those lines. It's going to hold up, it's going to hold zero, and it's not just going to fly away if I drop her. Running the classic A2 fixed stock on this one, so you can keep all your gummy bears and Zyn tins and condoms on the inside. And just kind of the classic Magpul MOE grip too. Again, not that this is the most up-to-date AR in all the land, but I definitely think there's something pretty cool about kind of reminiscing almost a little bit about kind of the old school AR vibes and kind of where the AR platform came from, right? This is absolutely, in my eyes, a very practical weapon system. I just do really love the quad rail. I love a heavier gun. I'm not quite sure why. Something does it for me. So we're talking about this AR today. We also have a good old-fashioned revolver out on the table with the wooden grips. This one specifically is a Smith & Wesson 357 that I really enjoy. I actually got this one from Daddy-O. So this one's a really cool piece in the collection as well. Double action, single action, shooting both 357 and that 38 special. A lot of the times, nice piece, says Mason. Well, I appreciate that. Popping in to say a quick hello. Dylan, what's up, man? We'll probably have Dylan Martin Fishing on the live stream later today for a quick chit chat. I know he wanted to show off a couple of his guns, so that'll be a good time as well. Probably about 6:30-ish later tonight. But have the Smith & Wesson 357 here. I do actually like this one quite a bit. A lot of the times, smaller guns will have, especially revolvers, smaller revolvers will kind of have a little bit of a miserable recoil when you're shooting them in 357. Guys, in this chat, if you could say, feel better, I broke my arm by accident. I'm sorry, Princess M. Feel better, Princess M. Please subscribe to the channel and I'll pray. I'll pray my little heart out for you, Princess M. So 357 is a really fun round to shoot. A lot of the times, the smaller revolvers can be pretty miserable to shoot in 357, and we usually kind of shoot our 38 special out of them as well. Uh, Pickles asks, how'd you break your arm? Were you going hard on a hand job? We don't judge here on the Muzzle Bro channel. We're all in the club, we all fam. But yeah, dude, shooting 357 out of this, they reel Mason Stevens. Shooting 357 out of this bad boy is actually a very pleasant recoil pattern just because it is all metal and it does kind of have that weight up front with the 6-inch barrel. So it's actually really not bad to shoot 357 out of. I will say that the wood grips on this guy are not necessarily the most comfortable in all the land. I think when I first got this one, I had some Hogue rubber grips on this. But for me, it just really didn't fit the vibe of the revolver. I really just appreciated the wood grips. So switched them back to the wood grips on this one just to give a little bit more of the vibe factor to this. The other gun that we have on the table is quite possibly my favorite gun to carry. And whenever anyone asks for a carry gun recommendation, if price is no object for you, this one is definitely going to be at the top of the list. I have my little carbon fiber holster for this guy hanging out today too, because I did rip it out of my pants and rip it out of the holster just to show you guys today on the Lunchtime Live. If you guys are just joining the live today, I appreciate you tuning in, and please subscribe to the Muzzle Bro channel. I would really fucking appreciate you. And drop a comment down below. I love chit-chatting in the comments section. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the live today to Time Theft from Your Boss. It really gives me the warm and fuzzies when we can steal a little bit of time back in our plebeian lives. So this guy right here is going to be the P365 AXG Legion. So basically the P365 Legion model. A couple of things that I really like about the gun specifically and the Legion model specifically. So kind of diving in a little bit to the gun specifically, obviously we have it here sitting next to a fairly decent sized revolver. It's not the smallest EDC concealed carry gun in the game. But it's definitely incredibly reasonable. Definitely, I would say, what, Pickles, you think? About the size of a Glock 17? I would actually argue it's a little bit smaller than a Glock 17 because it actually is pretty thin. You can kind of appreciate that. So this guy does have a 17+1 capacity, which is pretty dope. Like I said, just about is actually the exact same capacity as a Glock 17, but quite a bit smaller. Other things to note on this gun specifically, I do really love the integrated slide comp that comes with it. It really makes this gun have a pretty pleasant recoil pattern. Of course, with any sort of compensator or like ridiculously blasty muzzle device, you do get a little bit more of a muzzle flash and a little bit more of a concussion with this, but it's a 9mm gun. It's incredibly easy and reasonable to handle. Shooting this guy at an indoor range doesn't ever give me any problems like something like a short-barreled AK that can be a little ridiculous out in the range. So we have a pretty compact weapon with a 17-round capacity of a full-size handgun, but quite a bit smaller. One of the big draws for me specifically about this gun was the grip. So I love a metal frame gun, and we do have a metal frame gun on the P365 Legion here. Not that I hate polymer frame, I'm not really a big fan of polymer frame stuff in general. I just feel like it kind of feels a little cheap and shitty. You would kind of ask, hey, like, why are you carrying a heavier gun for a concealed carry weapon? Viable question, I guess I would say. To me, weight is not really that big of a factor with this gun. Obviously, I am saving a little bit of weight on this by not running a optic and not running a weapon light, which, whatever, controversial, but it's my fucking opinion. I would rather invest some of that weight in a heavier frame and a heavier gun so that I can actually shoot it incredibly proficiently when needed. So like I said, the metal frame on this gun definitely gives it a little bit of weight to mitigate some of that recoil for a smaller EDC weapon. Again, like I mentioned, I'm not really running an optic on this, but I guess it's kind of hard to appreciate the iron sights. But it does come with the Sig Sauer not night vision, but what's the word I'm looking for here, Pickles? The glow-in-the-dark sights, the night sights, that's what they're called. So it does come with the Sig Sauer night sights, which I feel very proficient with. They're pretty easy to pick up. The sight radius on this, despite losing about a 1/2 inch up front from the compensator, is actually very reasonable to shoot with. So I do really like the SIG iron sights. One other thing that I really appreciate this is that it's a comp and a comp from the factory. If you guys have watched the channel before, you know I'm a super big fan of pimping out my guns and adding a ridiculous amount of aftermarket attachments. If you guys are just joining the stream, appreciate you popping on. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. So I'm a big fan of pimping out my guns and adding a ton of aftermarket bullshit, especially to my handgun specifically. But for an EDC concealed carry weapon, I really try my best to kind of raw dog it. I really try not to add aftermarket shit, at least to the internals of the gun. So in my opinion, with this gun, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds in a sense that you're getting a compensator, but it's a compensator from the factory. Meaning I'm gonna hope, and at least in my experience, SIG did a ton of reliability testing on this compensator to get an appropriate recoil spring weight so that you're not gonna have reliability issues even with the comp. And I've had this gun probably about 4 or 5 months now, and I have not had any reliability issues with it shooting hollow points, shooting shitty 115 grain, shooting shitty hollow points. This gun has cycled pretty damn flawlessly, and for a gun with any sort of porting or compensator, that's pretty impressive to me. So we get a small concealed carry package, a 17+1 capacity, and an integrated compensator from the factory, which for an EDC weapon is kind of a must for me. If this gun specifically doesn't really tickle your dick, I would maybe look into the M&P Performance Center with the ports from the factory. I've shot that one. That one shoots incredibly nice and incredibly flat as well. And again, we're getting a port from the factory, so M&P does a pretty good job of adjusting recoil spring weights and all that good stuff so that you're getting a reliable weapons system. The trigger on this is actually pretty good. I may be mistaken on this, but I believe the Legion series, like what we have here, does have a little bit of an upgraded trigger and trigger module when compared to the normal series. If I'm wrong, scream at me down below, but I'm pretty sure they do. The one other big thing, aside from obviously the kind of green-gray Cerakote that SIG does for their Legion series, the grip of this gun is phenomenal. I really find myself, I guess before I bought this gun, I was pretty religiously carrying the Glock 17. Not that you can't carry a Glock 17. I did for years, and it is fine. I carried it inside the waistband, and I got away with it. The grip is obviously a little bit bigger. The slide is a little bit longer. It's a little bit bigger and bulkier. But for me, and I guess I would have normal size hands, I think, whenever I'm getting into like true, I guess before this gun, whenever I was kind of getting into like EDC weapon, like trying them out, right? Like I would go to the range or I would try out a buddy's, and I just could never get a good fucking grip. Like a Glock 19, I don't even fucking waste my time. I can't get a good grip on it. Not that I can't shoot it proficiently, because I can, but it feels very uncomfortable, and I don't really feel 100% in control of the weapon. Love the Legion. It's one of my favorite in my collection. I will carry my Legion. Usually I carry my smaller 365 though. Yeah, I mean the 365 is a good gun too. My buddy has the 365, I think like XL or whatever, and for some reason just the grip, I just didn't do it for me. Not that I couldn't shoot it proficiently, but when I pick up this gun and when I pick up the regular P365, I definitely am able to get a exponentially better grip on this gun. A couple reasons why. So it does have the metal frame, which is pouched out a little bit more when compared to the regular P365's polymer frame. It also does have these, I'm not allowed to touch the guns on YouTube Live, which is annoying, but it does have these grips. And, you know, I'm not like a super big Legion fanboy. I like the Legion series. I think they're cool. Usually for me, the price kind of kills it. But for this one, the grip just really fit my hand incredibly well. The little grip panels that these come with, you can kind of see that they pouch out and widen up that grip just a little bit, which really helps me get a good purchase on it. And the magwell specifically, not that I really care about the magwell for reloading an EDC gun. Not that it's useless, but I don't really give a shit about having a magwell on an EDC. But for me, I really like the magwell because it gives my little pinky butt of my hand here a really good spot to rest on the back and kind of prevents my hand from sliding down on the gun when I'm shooting. I've done a couple of comparisons, not really in a video, but just kind of for my own benefit at the range. And I kind of compared this gun to my Glock 17 to a Springfield Prodigy. And I truly think that this gun has the best grip. I'm not going to say it shoots the absolute best. I would say, obviously, a bigger ported 2011 is going to shoot better, kind of obviously. But when I compared kind of my Springfield Prodigy with a bunch of ports and aftermarket trigger, like that thing is fucking decked out to the nines. Directly comparing this with the Prodigy with the Glock 17, this definitely shoots better than the Glock 17. I would definitely say that I have less rounds on this gun than I have on the Glock 17 for sure. I mean, I've had that Glock 17 for years. I carried it for years. I have fucking thousands of rounds on that. So I definitely feel comfortable with the Glock 17, but even with less practice, less range time, less rounds, I do shoot a lot faster with this gun here, just kind of because of the comp, the trigger, and my grip on it. Again, the 17+1 capacity of this is absolutely fucking stellar. If you guys are just joining the stream, appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the channel. We got tons of awesome content dropping all the time. And please drop me a comment down below. I love chit-chatting in the comments section. And I appreciate you time thefting for your boss with me today. I really enjoy stealing your boss's time. More about the P365 Legion. I guess the only kind of bitch from this gun specifically was kind of the cost. It kind of sucks to drop $1,300 on a handgun. Again, it kind of is what it is. My kind of, I guess, I don't know, promise to myself, you would say. So when I was carrying the Glock 17, I did carry it pretty religiously, but obviously in the concealed carry world, you want to be carrying 100% of the time. And for me, with kind of my job, my lifestyle, my gym like regiment, I wasn't carrying my Glock 17 to the gym. It was a little bit too big. It was a little bit too bulky. I can't really rock it in a inside the waistband holster while I'm wearing fucking booty shorts and a wife beater at the gym, right? So it was too big for my fanny pack. And I wanted to get a gun that I felt comfortable with, comfortable shooting, and would really allow me to carry 100% of the time. And that was it for me. This was the guy. At one of my gun stores in the area, they had like a Sig Sauer day or whatever, where Sig came and they had reps and they had this gun, and they were really marketing the P365 Rose for the ladies, and they were marketing the X5 Legion and all that shit. And they actually had like a free range. I think they only gave you 10 rounds or something, but they gave you a couple rounds and they said, hey, go have fun with whatever gun you want. So I blew all through 10 rounds through the P65 Legion here, and I kind of just fell in love with it. I'm not sure if you guys have ever kind of had this experience where you kind of just pick up a gun and it just feels really good to you. Not to shit on my revolver, because I do really like this Smith & Wesson 357 revolver here, but this grip is fucking miserable. It looks really cool. It's super vibey. I love the stainless steel. I love the wood grips. But this grip is just, I don't know, I pick it up and I feel like something's wrong. I feel like I can't really get a good solid grip on the gun. I'll take the grips. No, I do like the grips. I mean, I like the wood grips. They fit the vibe. I don't know. When you pick up something, need a bigger hand. I don't have Trump hands. I got normal size hands. When you pick up something like this, it's one of those things where you can manage it, you can train through it. And I'm really a firm believer that you can train through just about anything, but it just didn't really feel incredibly natural to me. Whereas this one, with the grip texture, with the added thickness of the Legion frame and the Legion grips, along with the magwell, it really just did feel like it sat very, very nicely in my hand. I do wish, I'm gonna move real quick. A couple other cool things on the flip side of this gun that I really appreciate. I got rubber grips if you want to trade, plus $20. Nah, I'm all right, man. Thanks. There are no firearm sales on the channel. There are no firearm sales on the channel. There are no firearm sales on the channel. But this one, on the flip side of this gun, the support hand side, there are a couple of features that I do really appreciate. Yeah, Jeff, I know you're joking, but the YouTube AI moderators will shut down my stream, and I'll be very sad. If you're just joining, appreciate y'all joining. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. So on the flip side, kind of the support hand side of the P365, no, you're good, man. On the flip side of the AXG I hate when guns have like super long, ridiculous names. This should just be the P365 Legion, but it's the AXG P365 Legion. I don't know what the AXG stands for. If anyone knows, drop a comment because I'm sure I could look it up, but I'm kind of lazy. But a couple of cool things on this gun on the support side of the gun that I thought were really nifty. It does have a little bit of an extended slide release, which is super cool. So you really don't have to break your grip when you're reloading the weapon, which is nice. Even in my Glocks, my Glock 17 that I used to carry, well, I do still carry it occasionally, but whatever. Pretty much on every handgun I have, one of the first things I do is get some sort of extended slide release. Not that you need it, but I really hate breaking my grip, especially when I'm, fucking around with the shot timer at the range, doing reload drills. I really just like to give myself every little speed advantage that I can. And I really like this gun because I didn't have to replace any of the parts. With a concealed carry gun, that's kind of one of the most important things to me is I want to take the gun out of the box, run it, and not replace the parts. And this kind of had everything I need. It came with a comp out of the box. It came with night sights out of the box. It came with good grips. It came with the mag well that I really appreciated. And it came with this extended slide release, which it doesn't really look like a super big slide release, but it is just long enough to actuate without significantly breaking your grip on this weapon system. A couple other things that I think are really cool on the support side, it does have a very positive and a very textured mag release. Again, gonna shit on my Glocks here. The Glock mag releases are like, they're so fucking bad. I truly don't understand why they haven't improved the mag releases. But anyways, the mag releases on the Glocks really suck. This mag release here is very positive. It's textured and it's not really extended, but it does peep out just enough to where, again, you can kind of actuate it with your dominant hand thumb to eject the mag if needed. One other kind of cool thing, I don't know if I really super duper appreciate this the most, but you can kind of see we have a little bit of like serrations and texturing where your support side thumb will go. Not that it really acts like a significant gas pedal or something to really, really, really help you mitigate that recoil, but it definitely does help. It definitely gives that support thumb a place to be, which I appreciate. So a lot of my fangirling over the P365 Legion today. It's a great gun. It's quite possibly my favorite. Well, it is my favorite EDC gun that I have. And I think it's actually probably the best, if you want to use the word best, the best EDC option really on the market right now. If you disagree, drop me a comment. I'm curious to hear what y'all think. There are, of course, a lot of different EDC options. Nina, what's up? There are, of course, a lot of really good EDC options out on the market today, but for me, this one kind of takes the cake. Again, is it the most cost-effective? Probably not, but it is a really good shooting gun with the integrated comp. The trigger's really good on it. It's got a pretty awesome extended slide release, extended mag release, night sights, the whole shebang. I really like this one quite a bit. The holster that I'm running for this isn't really anything incredibly fancy. It does have a brand on it. I don't even know if I could read this. Max Tor Tactical, I guess, is the brand of this holster. It's a nice little carbon fiber holster. I think I ended up picking it up on just fucking Amazon for like $25 or something. Not really anything too super crazy holster-wise. I really kind of pride myself in not being a holster princess. Again, you might disagree with that, but that's okay. I don't really want to spend a bunch of money on my holsters. To be honest, I usually buy, whenever I get a new gun that I'm trying to carry, I usually buy 2 or 3 holsters off Amazon and just kind of return the ones that I don't like. I do have a tier 1 holster in the collection. I have spent money on holsters before. I don't think it's worth it, to be incredibly honest. Geraldine Foster, a girl on the channel. What a surprise. Welcome, Miss Geraldine. So this gun specifically is a 17+1 capacity, so it does have the capacity of a full-size handgun. Geraldine, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I need more girls on the channel for the algorithm, so I would really appreciate you. But yeah, man, the P365 AXG Legion, definitely my favorite EDC weapon. Big fan of this one. Oh, she's going to subscribe. Thanks, Geraldine. I think you might be the first female subscriber on the channel, so we do really appreciate that as we try to grow. Girls are cool. We talk to girls here on the channel. So talking about the P365 AXG Legion, Smith & Wesson 357 revolver in stainless steel with the wood grips, and kind of talking a little bit about one of my old school AR-15 builds with the Super Vibey quad rail, carry handle, and the A2 fixed stock. I just kind of slopped. I think this is just a Pro Mag vertical grip that I slopped on this one. Nothing too super fancy with the vertical grip. I think I picked it up for 10 or 15 bucks. But I really just do appreciate vertical grips quite a bit. When I first kind of got into guns, I don't know, everyone was kind of telling me that the angled foregrips were the move, and I don't know. Again, kind of the same thing with the grip on the revolver. Any sort of grip on an angled grip, I really had issues gripping the front of the weapon. And to be honest, I kind of ended up preferring just no grip over an angled grip. Geraldine, which one did you want? This one? Yeah, so really just kind of prefer the not the angled grip, the vertical grip over any sort of angled grip. I do really love a hand stop too. I did just kind of add the hand stop to the front of this rail here up top by the muzzle device, just so I can kind of use that to butt against any sort of barrier while I'm shooting. I think if I were to kind of rank any sort of grips, vertical grip would definitely get my number one ranking, followed by any sort of hand stop, followed by no grip at all, followed in fourth place by angled grips, because I really just do fucking hate them for some reason. And hey, maybe I had some shitty experiences. If you guys have a super awesome angled grip that you recommend, let me know down in the comments. Miss Geraldine wants the biggest one, she says, and I'm doing my best not to make any dick jokes to the one woman that has ever joined my live stream. Yeah, so just a custom AR-15. I believe I'm rocking a Colt barrel on this, Aero Precision lower receiver. Got the Magpul pistol grip, Pro Mag vertical grip. The hand stop that I'm running on this one, actually funny enough, came with my Chris Vector. I ended up ripping that off the Vector when I SBR'd her and throwing on the Vector vertical grip hand stop combo. So I had that laying around in the closet, figured I'd slop around the AR here, and I think it looks pretty cool up front. This is a railed receiver, so it doesn't not have the integrated carry handle, but I did add the carry handle for the vibe factor for sure. I also am running a pretty nifty trigger in this one. This may or may not be a Rare Breeds FRT trigger. Probably not one of those. Yeah, actually definitely not one of those for the AI YouTube moderator. So may or may not be one of those, definitely not though, to make this shoot pretty speedily. I do think I have one or two videos of the FRT on the channel. Miss Geraldine, there are no firearm sales on the channel. But I appreciate you enjoying the gun, but there are no firearm sales for the channel. The YouTube AI moderator will not like that. There are no firearm sales on the channel, YouTube AI moderator. But yeah, man, definitely some cool guns we got out today. I am hitting the range this Saturday. I'm probably going to end up doing a live stream from the range. So if there's something you guys want to see specifically from the range day videos or range day live stream, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. I don't know, I always kind of tend to, do I want to script videos or do I just kind of want to free ball the videos when I'm at the range? Because I don't know, I do enjoy the content creation. I really love the live streams because I love to talk to you guys. But when I'm at the range, that's kind of my relax and decompress time. I usually fucking turn off my phone and just kind of enjoy the ambiance, enjoy the gun smoke, enjoy the smell. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really have any significantly long list of shit I gotta film. I'm just gonna go, we're gonna shoot, we're gonna have some fun. Like I said, I probably will do a live stream from the range. Unfortunately, I cannot pick up a gun on the live stream, so maybe I'll just show you guys what I'm shooting when I'm at the range while I'm like eating some lunch or something like that. But if you have any requests for any sort of range footage, y'all let me know down in the comments. If you guys are just joining the channel, I would really appreciate a subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. We have tons of content dropping all the time. We are at least doing 1 or 2 videos a day, and I have been pretty good about doing at least 1 live stream a day too. So plenty of chances to chit chat and bullshit. I appreciate everyone joining the lunchtime live stream today, and appreciate you time thefting from your boss to do something much cooler, which is bullshit with me and talk about guns, which is quite possibly the coolest thing you could be doing during your lunch break. I actually ended up I got this gun before I kind of, I guess, aftermarketed the shit out of it. Did actually buy this gun used from like an ex-girlfriend's brother years ago, and I think he only charged me about $450 for it, which was a pretty good deal, but I have since kind of shot out the barrel on this one. This is not really a gun that I use for hunting at this point, because it's not that it's horribly inaccurate, but I mean, I'm getting probably about $50, MOA at like 25 yards, which is a little suboptimal. Not that AR-15s are like a precision rifle, but for any AR, I really should be getting a little bit more accuracy out of it than what I am. I could very easily buy a new barrel, swap it out, and, kind of go from there. I don't know, haven't pulled the trigger on it. Honestly, if I don't write it down, I forget about it until I chit chat about it. And then I make a mental note to myself to buy a new barrel or buy a grip or buy this or buy that or do this or do that. And then I just kind of forget. So going back a little bit to the Smith & Wesson 357 revolver here, probably one of my favorite revolvers in the collection, just for the kind of cowboy vibes. I would really like a Colt Python, but in my opinion, this gun right here, Smith & Wesson's version, is just incredibly similar. Similar enough to the point where like I can't really justify the purchase of a Colt Python for $1,300. And again, this is one that my dad ended up giving me back in the day, so I ain't gonna sell it. I guess I've really only sold one gun, and it was a gun that I had bought, so I didn't really feel bad about selling it. It's not like it was like, dad's or grandpa's or something like that. I bought the PSA AKV a while ago, and I for some reason, I just didn't like it. Not that anything was wrong with it. It wasn't a bad gun by any sense of the word. It didn't really have the kind of old school AK manual of arms that I'm really used to, which some would kind of argue is a good thing. The PSA AKV does have the bolt hold open, so when you shoot your last shot, that bolt stays back. And it did have a, what's the word I'm looking for? Bolt release on the left-hand side of the weapon. So unlike a traditional AR, you didn't have to insert the mag and re-rack it. You could just, with your support hand, insert the new mag, and there was a lever on the left-hand side of the receiver that you could drop the bolt. I don't know. It was definitely a little more practical, but kind of didn't really do it for me as far as like the old school AK vibes go, which, if you know anything about me, I do love my tactical high speed bullshit. And I do have a lot of like high speed, very purpose driven guns. But I also kind of love my old school shit, like this revolver or just kind of this old school vibes AR here. A lot of different schools of thought when it kind of comes to like, I don't know, everything in this kind of firearm space is really preference. You just heard me oogle and ogle over the grip module for the P365 AXG Legion, and that is really just because it fits my hand specifically incredibly well. And not everyone might have that experience. I mean, you could definitely pick up this gun and be like, I fucking hate the way this feels. I don't like the way it shoots. It's not for me. And, obviously that's your opinion, especially for any weapon system. Whatever you feel comfortable, confident, and are proficient with is really kind of what you should go with. So it is kind of hard to answer the question like, what's the best handgun? What's the best AR? What's the best AK? What's the best EDC? Because it really just kind of breaks down to like, how good are you with this platform? I'm not really a super big Glock fanboy. People kind of accuse me of being. I do like my Glock 17. I'm very proficient with it. It's just one of those guns that I have a lot of range time on, and I have a lot of rounds through, so it feels proficient to me. Am I going to say that like a Shadow Systems or an Echelon is a worse gun than the Glock? I'm not really going to say that. Just kind of one of those things, like in my opinion, I just have more practice on some of the, more traditional vibes Glocks, so I tend to shoot them better, and that's just me. I think it's one of those things where if you're looking into purchasing a firearm that you may or may not have had a ton of range time or handling time with, I definitely recommend you try and rent it. A lot of gun ranges will do rentals for handguns pretty dang cheap. So I definitely recommend that you try and rent it, shoot it, see how it feels in your hand, and kind of just go from there in a sense. What else we got today? I'm trying to think of it if I have any significant complaints with the 357 here. I really don't. My biggest complaint, like I kind of mentioned earlier, is just kind of the grip angle, and that's very easily changed by just buying some rubber grips and switching out these wood ones. But for me, the vibes of the wood grips on the revolver supersede my comfortability while shooting. And again, this one's not incredibly uncomfortable to shoot because it is a 6-inch barrel. There is quite a bit of weight up front in this all metal revolver to really kind of keep that muzzle flip down. Shooting 38 special out of this guy is like insanely low recoiling. It almost kind of feels like shooting a 22 LR. Not quite, but it's approaching that level. The 38 special, you can usually shoot 38 special through whatever 357 chambered guns you want, just to get a little bit of a lighter recoiling, lower powder charge round. Definitely fun to shoot side by side and kind of compare the two because there is absolutely a substantial difference with both revolvers, lever guns, really anything when you're kind of comparing that 38 special to 357 Magnum. In my opinion, the 357 Magnum rounds are a lot more fun because I like to go bang big, I guess. 357 is a ton of fun to shoot. Revolvers are a ton of fun. If you haven't shot a revolver, I know they're not necessarily the most like high speed and practical weapons, especially in today's day and age, especially when we're comparing them to like the new high speed concealed carry guns. But revolvers are definitely a ton of fun and just kind of gives you a little bit more familiarity and proficiency with a little bit of a different platform, which I always think is kind of cool. The P365 AXG Legion is definitely my favorite gun to carry just because of the size, the speed, and the muzzle flip, I guess, or lack thereof, because of the integrated comp that comes from the factory. Again, my favorite thing about this one is that the comp does come from the factory, so we kind of are getting significant reliability because they've essentially tuned the slide weight, the comp, and the recoil spring weight to be reliable, and it's not something that I had to like do on my own. For some of my bigger handguns that I kind of have molested quite a bit, I end up adding a big comp, I end up adding a lighter trigger, I end up adding this, and this, and then I kind of have to play the game of like, well, shit, now I got to get a lighter recoil spring so it like cycles reliably, or I have to play with like different types of ammo and bullet weights and all that good stuff, and it kind of just sucks to do that. So I do really appreciate when I get a gun like this where it's kind of comped from the factory and it's going to be reliable without me really having to mess with it all that much. Again, I mean, the reliability of revolvers is actually pretty incredible. That is one thing that I definitely do appreciate about the revolver system. Although you are getting a little bit of a lesser capacity, I guess, in a sense. This one does hold 6 in the wheel here. You're definitely getting a lot of reliability, which is pretty cool. Not that revolvers are simple guns, but the operation system is pretty, I don't want to say flawless, but a little bit more robust when we compare it to something, especially like a, very high-end 2011, where, you kind of get a little bit of dirt and grime and shit in some of these high-speed 2011s, and it's going to end up shitting the bed on you, which is not going to be very good. And then we, have the classic AR-15 old school vibes hanging out over here today as well. I'm trying to think of what else I haven't really mentioned about this one. I do just really love the quad rail on this. Something about the quad rail on the A2 front post just really does it for me. I feel like I don't know. Should I take off that hand stop? I feel like the hand stop is kind of taken away from the old school vibes. We'll leave it for a little bit. But the the quad rail Picatinny rail with that kind of Pro Mag vertical grip, the A2 kind of classic stock, and the Vibey carry handle really just kind of puts this piece, completes the old school puzzle for me, I guess, in a sense. Again, we also have the Smith & Wesson 357 revolver out on the table today, as well as the P365 AXG Legion. If you guys are just joining, I appreciate you joining the Lunchtime Live. If you could subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. And for the YouTube AI chat moderators, there are no firearm sales on the channel. Alrighty, everyone, I think I'm going to be heading back to work here in a bit. I appreciate you checking into the Lunchtime Live. We're going to be doing another live stream later tonight. Please subscribe to the channel if you can. Everyone have a super fantastic Wednesday, and I'll catch you at the next video.